Well, good evening and welcome to this 10 weather impact cut-in here because we've got a severe thunderstorm warning. We've been watching this entire line, Aaron.
Yeah.
Meteorologist Aaron White is also here. Been watching this line, this cold front moving in pretty much all afternoon.
Yeah, it kind of really picked up here in the last few hours. We were watching the storms starting to get a little bit of their act together in northwestern Ohio, back into Indiana, and then it's kind of been building to the east, and now we got some warnings here in central Ohio.
Yeah, and it does include parts of Franklin County, and you've also got Delaware and Marysville, and let's just go over here and take a look at it. So you see the orange box right here. That's our severe thunderstorm warning box, and it's what we were looking at here. It's not a big hail risk. First of all, this one was prompted because of strong winds. So this line right here is pushing out 60-mile-per-hour winds as it's arriving into central Ohio. So if you're in Delaware, Marysville, soon to be potentially here in Columbus, you're going to experience some pretty strong winds out of this thing. Bellefontaine, look at all the lightning with this thing as well. Aaron's going to put on a track with this thing so you can kind of see arrival times with this. So if it were to hold together, you've got Hilliard right there, Powell, Delaware, Unionville, Marysville, and you can see the arrivals at about 7:58. So it's basically imminent there. You've got Delaware at 8:09, so that's roughly 10-15 minutes from now. Powell at 8:19, you've got Dublin at 8:21, Hilliard at 8:24. And again, this is a line of strong winds that is going to be rolling in to a lot of Delaware County, Franklin County, and this is velocity. So now we can take the radar and we can look and see and look inside and see what the winds are actually doing with this. And so it's pushing, again, all that strong wind as it rolls into town. That's the risk with this particular severe thunderstorm warning. It's not hail, it's not a tornado, it's not anything like that. But so you can look at, this is a great example. So what Aaron has done here is he's looking at what these winds are doing going in and out of the radar site. And so this is estimating 58-mile-per-hour winds, or a velocity of 58 miles per hour. That's enough to trigger a severe thunderstorm warning. And that's exactly what we've had. So you've got Marysville, you're in it right now. You've got it off, we've got a Highway 33 right there. There's Leesburg. Obviously, it's going to be windy there. So if you live in Plain City, if you live in Ostrander, Jerome Township, Dublin, Powell, Delaware, any of these places, that's where the wind is coming next. That's where this line of storms, it's moving pretty slow. It's like 30, what is it, 30 miles per hour or something like that?
Yeah, 35.
Yeah, 35 miles per hour. So there you go again. This is the severe part of it. There's your severe thunderstorm warning box. Aaron, when does this expire?
This severe thunderstorm warning goes until, let's see here, 8:30 p.m.
Okay, so 8:30. So we've got about 30-some minutes on this thing. And boy, you can see the reds. The most intense part of this are going to be those oranges and those reds. Lots of lightning, all of these different strikes of lightning in the last 15-20 minutes or so. Getting a little bit of thunderstorm development out ahead of it right there, just north of I-70. But this does include parts of Franklin County. There's Dublin, there's 270 right there. You can see all the different strikes that we're looking at. There are different kinds of strikes right there, but the total of, let's see, 114 on the last sweep right there.
So a fair amount of lightning.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of humidity, a lot of static to create that, and not surprised to see at least over 100 strikes in that small area.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the one severe thunderstorm warning that we have, and again, and that runs until 8:30. Aaron will zoom out just a little bit. You've also got a severe part down here around the Dayton area and I-75. This one, I don't know what the characteristics are with that, but that I've seen that box on there for at least a while now. That's the southern part of this. Now you're looking at, this is all lining up with a cold front that's right here. So what's happening is it was about 90 degrees today, and the dew points were in the 60s, which means there's a lot of humidity in the air. And so this front is moving in and it's lifting that air up and generating these thunderstorms. And so you've got two aspects here that are severe, one down around the Dayton area. And now you can see the movement with this line as it's slowly marching its way. I mean, it's going to be here. Let's see. So it's 8 p.m. right now. It's not going to take that long before it arrives in Columbus. Give it probably another hour. And I mean, you've got this box that runs until 8:30 for the severe part of this with all of that wind, that 60-mile-per-hour wind. And what are you looking at? What do you see?
Yeah, and so as you're kind of looking at the radar there, I mean, it looks like that northern part where we have the storm around Marysville, Delaware, definitely going to be impacting those areas and may actually stay at least impacting the northern side of the Columbus metro. But I think it's going to be the stuff back here that actually currently doesn't have a warning that would definitely be sliding through Columbus in the next couple of hours. So for anyone out about this evening, I know a lot of people are at the Clippers game. It's a busy night, of course, for Dime Dog Night, and they're going to at least see some rain probably towards the tail end of the game. It's been going on for about an hour now. So hopefully they can get the rest of that in before we see these this line of showers and storms rolling through. But as we are talking about the radar picture, again, we got those 2 severe thunderstorm warnings currently in effect. We've also mentioned that there is that severe thunderstorm watch. Actually, now you just saw there, severe thunderstorm watch has now been extended to actually include the Columbus Metro. That was just a live update there. As you saw the pink box showing up, showing Columbus now included, Newark, Lancaster, Circleville, down to Logan, back to Washington Courthouse. And if we can get information on that just to see if they're going to extend that all the way through about 10. Yeah, so that severe thunderstorm watch for the Columbus Metro now goes until 10 p.m. in addition to what we are watching on the radar picture now with that severe thunderstorm warning. So we're watching for conditions in that area and looking at these storms really holding together. That could lead to some areas, not everyone. Do want to emphasize this is not going to be a widespread severe weather event, but some areas will have up to 60 mile-per-hour winds coming through, which is why we have a couple severe thunderstorm warnings currently in effect. So taking us back to the Marysville area, this is a look at that storm that Chris was just talking about here, that severe thunderstorm warning that includes Marysville and Delaware. So if you are in these areas, definitely just at least be aware of what's going on, that there is that potential for winds gusting up to 60 miles per hour. I want to switch it back over to that velocity picture here because that really shows everything that we're really focused on. And if we bear with me just for a moment, yeah, it looks like that right there. You can see, I mean, there's at least a potential for at least 50. I mean, it might not be as strong as it once was, Chris, with that velocity there, but I think near and around Marysville, yeah, still showing 58 miles, so definitely still severe. So going to be at least watching that here for the next short while. I believe that warning going until 8:30 this evening. So Marysville, over to Delaware, even areas around Powell, Jerome Township, the north side, even Dublin included in that severe thunderstorm warning. So we're going to have to watch these cells even further back to the south and west and how those continue to develop. But Chris, I mean, we're also getting to that point where the sun's going to be going down soon, and we're going to kind of lose some of that steam. Yeah, no doubt about it. But interesting that we watched that the severe thunderstorm watch roll out basically live here on the stream. So that'll run until 10 o'clock. So we'll push everything through generally before 10 p.m. tonight and away from us. But when you see a box like this for a severe thunderstorm warning, the anticipation is that what you see right here over Marysville and Leesburg will end up somewhere right in here during the course of this warning. So if you're in Dublin, if you're up around 270, Delaware County, even Hilliard, this storm will likely end up over a lot of those communities with those 60-mile-an-hour winds if it were to hold together. Aaron puts the ETA on here. And so you've got places like Delaware, arrival time at 8:10 p.m. You'll likely notice the wind kick up on arrival. Plain City, 8:15 p.m. Dublin at 8:24. Hilliard at about 8:30. Upper Arlington at just after 8:34. So you get an idea of the projected movement with this storm cell. And of course, it may, warp a little bit. It may change a little bit, may morph out. And so you may get some different development here out ahead of it. Like you can see these little areas of thunderstorms trying to develop out ahead of it. So we'll see. Maybe it'll hold together upon arrival into the Columbus area. But this will run us until 8:30 tonight, Aaron. Yeah, and I mean, even back towards the south and west, if that one stays to the north of at least north of downtown, impacting the northern parts of the Columbus Metro for areas in central, around downtown Columbus, Grandview Heights, areas around Grove City, Groveport. On the south side, it's going to be these storms a little bit further south right now around Springfield and even the severe thunderstorm warning back towards Dayton that we're going to have to watch. So this whole line, a little raggedy line here that some parts are stronger than others. And that's sometimes the trend when we have these severe thunderstorms rolling through, that we get some parts that end up being stronger. There's a little area that has that pocket of some stronger winds that we were just talking about around Marysville, but other parts of the entire line not as strong. Maybe, producing some heavy downpours, of course, and maybe some winds up to 30, 40 miles per hour. But it's going to be a very small area that we're really talking about potential for severe weather.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. We have our forecast radar that we look at a lot. We use different models for that. And I was looking at it at 9 p.m. over here on the other computer.
Yeah, if we can switch to weather 2, max 2.
It's actually kind of decent. It kind of, shows that raggedy aspect to it where you might have a severe part of it up in one area, and then there's not much to it, and the next it's much weaker, and it shows that southern part there on Washington Courthouse. We'll see. Maybe that's where that storm that's at Dayton might end up.
Yeah, definitely so. And I mean, it shows at least some of the stronger parts kind of skirting by the North Metro, heading up towards areas around Mount Vernon, possibly towards Coshocton. So not surprised that the National Weather Service opted to extend that severe thunderstorm watch on the off chance that we see some of these stronger cells moving into central Ohio and still having at least that concern for 60-mile-per-hour winds. As we are looking at that hour by hour, you can kind of see as Chris is moving that, the trend, keeping some of the stronger stuff a little further north, but I still think that southern storms near and south of Dayton still have some energy with them, still at least showing some indications that they could actually be producing some decent wind if we actually look at the velocity picture here. And I mean, that's a pretty good, just kind of looking at this picture here, I would say that's probably at least somewhat similar to what we were looking at around Marysville with, 58, maybe closer to 60, that little bright blue area, 56. So it's up there. So it's close to severe limits, and definitely, not a good reason why the National Weather Service opted to issue severe thunderstorm warnings down there. And both of these warnings that we have, this one again just kind of outside of the 10 TB area around Dayton, that one goes until 8:30, but this one that we're really focused in on around here is also until 8:30 for Marysville, Delaware, and Dublin, at least the northwest metro, northwest side of Franklin County.
Let's see. So you're estimating on our radar winds at 58 with that.
Yeah, that's the highest that we've seen so far. I'm going to switch it back over to the velocity mode here for this storm as well and see if we've gotten a new update just to see how the trend is. And this is one thing to keep in mind. We talk about this all the time with storms is they're changing. They're not going to be always the same. They're not always producing high winds every minute, so they'll kind of go up and down and may still be producing winds of 50 miles per hour, but then you'll get 5 minutes later, they could be producing winds up to 60 miles per hour. So that's why we get these new updates with the radar picture, and now it's actually showing 60. So it has strengthened a little bit in that area just now east of Marysville with that severe thunderstorm warning. So that's going to be taking it into Delaware County here in about the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, so what we're looking at here again is the cold front moving in with a line of potentially severe thunderstorms. We have one right now. A lot of them are strong to severe, and they're pushing out strong winds, 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. And so this is the one we're watching right now. You can see the orange box, which is the warning that runs until 8:30. If you're in Dublin, up around 270, Powell, Delaware, even in Hilliard, Marysville, obviously. But if you're anywhere here, Plain City, for example, you're likely going to see some strong winds, 50, 58, 60 miles per hour as this line approaches you over the next 20, 25 minutes roughly. But even down the road like Sunbury, Galena, Westerville, the remainder of the northern part of the metro there in Franklin County, this may hold together and we may still have strong winds that continue beyond 8:30 in a lot of those areas. And Aaron, I was just looking at the air temps. You see that air temperature, the current numbers over there on the other computer? Look at the difference in the air temperatures there and where the cold front's already gone through. So this is really interesting. So it's 68 degrees up in Kenton right now while we're still well in the 80s. You can see where the cold front is. Even in Urbana now in the 60s. Some of this is rain-cooled air as well, but behind the front, the temperatures will start to drop. You've got 80s down in Circleville, and what you don't see are the humidity levels. The dew points are very high as well, so it's that combination of heat and humidity today. All you really needed was some sort of a mechanism, and we had the cold front come in And so that's what we're seeing now. Our thunderstorms just popping up, and some of them are severe.
Yeah, and if we actually can switch over back to Weather 1, I decided to pop up our sky cam, our view looking towards downtown and also looking towards the north, looking at that storm there. And I mean, it's definitely getting a bit darker out there, but Chris, as you mentioned, I mean, it's still 83 degrees.
It feels like 85.
Yeah, so dew points are up there. There's a lot of moisture. That's all feeding. That's the fuel feeding these showers and storms here right now. And, you know, we're going to have to continue to watch how these storms play out. And one thing that I was looking at from the National Weather Service here is we're watching these storms for that potential for severe weather, but there also is maybe some concern that these storms are going to be moving over some of the same locations, and we're going to have to watch for a potential for a flash flooding threat, at least in some areas. And right now, what they're focused in on is really going to be this area, just bear with me for a moment, really this area kind of right in here as storms kind of develop and move over the same locations, that there could be, not everyone, but a few spots where we get some storms over and over again producing some localized flash flooding.
I could see that being the case. I mean, look at it. You've got storms all the way back to Bloomington, it looks like.
Yeah, so
which would run over the same spots.
So that's going to be another trend that we're going to be watching here over the course of the next short while. But at least, you know, we got the severe thunderstorm warning here for about another 19 minutes now on that warning. So going to keep track of that here as we go through the next short while, Chris. And, you know,
zoom in on this here one
hopefully
more
time. It's starting to show some signs of weakening over the next 30 minutes. Now that we're getting kind of close to that point of the sun going down, I believe sunset's right around 8:40.
Sure. Yep.
So
so
after.
You can see the details. Delaware, Franklin, Madison, Union counties. Hail's not the concern, although you may have some small hail, but it's the wind and this line of thunderstorms, Aaron, again pushing out winds of 60 miles per hour. So Marysville, obviously you're in it. You've got Delaware. You've got places like Plain City included, down around Hilliard and Dublin and 270 right there. You're likely going to experience some of those stronger winds as this line of thunderstorms moves in. This is the cold front. Now we're looking at the southern end of this. So now we're down south of I-70 right here. There's Dayton and 675, which runs right there down through the Dayton area. You can see the severe thunderstorm warning box right there. And again, the big thing is going to be the 60-mile-an-hour winds. That's a severe type wind which can produce damage to personal property. And so that's one thing to keep in mind. So this is pushing out strong wind into that box. Washington Courthouse, you may want to keep an eye on this. Of course, London, you'll want to watch this as well. And we've also got the severe thunderstorm warning box just to the north there, which does include parts of Franklin County. Again, that runs until 8:30.
Yeah, and so this is our newest warning that we just had issued here, this including parts of Madison County, just west of London right now. This goes until 9 p.m. This one going to also be, as Chris mentioned, for potential for 60-mile-per-hour winds. So I will say the good news, this is the lower end of that we get with severe warnings. Usually, sometimes we could be talking about winds up to 70, 80 miles per hour. We don't have that tonight. I think this is going to be probably the peak that we get with these storms is going to be 60, maybe 61, 62 miles per hour.
So these are kind of straddling that strong to severe, category.
Yep. So enough that, can cause some problems with some of those older trees, any trees that have some disease, some tree rot. Not hard to get these winds to knock some branches down. So of course that's going to be a concern, and the reason why we actually have these severe thunderstorm warnings in effect here across central Ohio. And I'm going to switch it back to the velocity picture here again, and just to see what we're looking at here. So, I mean, it's definitely showing some wind. Not seeing those bright, like light blue cores as we saw up around Marysville earlier, and even over around Marysville, maybe not as much. But I want to switch it over to one radar picture here just to see what we get.
Yeah, this is the terminal.
Yeah, so this radar out of near the airport, and there's a couple spots that I think maybe still showing that 58, close to 60 miles per hour. Yep. And then when we go back down towards the south and west, it's going to be that area. Let me circle it here. It's kind of right in here that we're watching for up to 60 miles per hour. More than likely 40 to 55 miles per hour, but there could be a couple spots that we get closer to 60 here.
Yeah, so you know,
a lot to watch.
This is, we saw, obviously, that's why we issued this weather impact alert for today, this afternoon, tonight, because we saw this cold front coming.
Yep.
It was warm, it was humid. You figured, okay, something's going to happen with this. And here we are at 8:15 at night, and we do have 3 different severe thunderstorm warning boxes here. One of them, which is right in the middle of central Ohio right now, for parts of Franklin County, Delaware County, all included. Yeah, so all those places are included within this. And again, this runs until 8:30, so we will continue to watch this box right here. And I'll have Aaron zoom in on this thing here, and I want to see who all's he's drawing on the front right there. So the cold front is basically right in here. Once this passes through, things will stabilize. The air will start to cool, and we won't see any severe weather after this thing goes by. We'll probably see rain showers once things cool off through the course of the night, maybe even some rain showers for the morning rush tomorrow. But right now, everything is still warm, and the front is basically just running right into it. So as we zoom in, there's Delaware, you've got Ostrander, there's Jerome Township, there's Powell right there, Dublin, you're running into the 270 outer belt right there, and you've got Plain City. We've got so many people, we've got a lot of friends that live up there in Plain City, but there's your warning, runs till 8:30, Delaware, Franklin, Madison, Union counties, and it's for wind. The hail has not reached the severe limits, the severe level, which would be quarter-sized or 1 inch in diameter, but the winds have. They're at 60 miles per hour. So the winds are basically running down through parts of Jerome Township and Powell, Delaware County, Dublin, and probably down into Worthington as well in that 270 area. Not seeing anything as far as hail, because that's the product we have on right now. There might be a little bit of hail right down there, but I mean, that's pretty small.
Yeah.
You know, we've tracked some supercells with much bigger hail than that. All right, so now we're looking at velocity. We're looking at what the winds are doing in and out of this storm cell, this line of storms right here. So now you're looking at this wind front, essentially right here. And you see these brighter returns around Plain City, Jerome Township, down just to the east of Mechanicsburg. Those are going to be your stronger winds. Those are probably 58 to 60 mile per hour winds, which is what you would need to have a severe, there it is, 60 mile per hour winds. On the velocity there around Plain City, there's a 58. That's also enough to be severe, and that one's just under up there around Jerome Township and Powell. But that's your wind front right there, essentially coming in towards central Ohio with this line of, in some cases, severe thunderstorms. But it's definitely strong. Now we'll put the timing on it, the arrival times, as we spread this out. So there's John Glenn. Let me track that down. So 8:48, that assumes everything holds together as is at current speed. It would arrive at John Glenn at about 8:45, 8:48, somewhere right in there. So you've also got Bexley upon arrival, Columbus, the city, at 8:43, New Albany at 8:42. So right in that time frame. That's because there's a tilt to it. So it would get to both locations at about the same time. UA 8:39, you've got Westerville at 8:32, Dublin 8:24. So those are the arrival times. You may have wind that comes in well before those times. That would be, though, when the actual line of thunderstorms comes in. You can see it here, just clipping parts of Franklin County, Dublin there, and all the way up into Marysville. Now you're really on the back side of it, just seeing some pretty much heavy rain. Here's another way to look at this. Here's precipitation rates. So these are indicating pockets of much heavier rain or downpours. You've got 2.5 inches per hour. If that were to sit over you, you'd get 2.5 inches of rain in 1 hour. That's pretty heavy stuff. It's tough to drive through that. That one I think was even over that. But if you were to drive through that,
5.
it would. I know. I thought I saw a 5
Yeah.
pop up. It would be torrential. So we're going to get heavy rain. There's a ton of lightning, and there are 60 mile per hour winds with this.
Yeah, and I mean, not so surprising to see these torrential rainfall rates. I mean, Chris, you talked about it earlier today. I mean, just how humid it is out there. Those dew points are so high. It's almost a tropical feel, if you will. And we see that all the time, of course, down in Florida in the tropics.
Yes.
And you get those heavy downpours. And this is kind of that same feel to an extent. So.
There was a mug that we had here, a coffee mug that had Cancun on it.
Oh yeah, yeah, the Cancun
bring that
coffee
in on
mug. Yep.
humid days.
Yeah. I thought it was the appropriate coffee mug for today. But definitely feeling it out there. here still ahead of that cold front, and really going to be the focus now is just see how these severe thunderstorm warnings really pan out as we go through at least the next 20 to 40 minutes, where we have these 2 severe thunderstorm warnings that are currently moving in.
What's your opinion on the one right over central Ohio here, the warning box? I mean, what's your opinion? Is it weakening? Is it strengthening? Would that hold together? Would that warning continue?
Yeah, I still feel like it's going to hold together at least through, I would say at least through the 9 o'clock hour. I still feel like it's going to be what happens once that sun goes down, once we get past, really past sunset, to see, do the storms hold together for another hour, or will they start to gradually lose some steam? So
yeah,
that's going to be the question. We'll have to see. But so far, we at least have a few pockets within this line that are producing those strong winds, and even getting a couple stronger cells where we're getting those torrential downpours. And maybe, I'd say really a big maybe on this, because it's not the highest threat today. Damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, really the highest threat for that hail potential, and not seeing it. Not seeing it. Oh,
there we go. It caught up. So there is going to be some small hail there.
Yeah. So I mean, we're probably talking about, in terms of small hail, maybe dime size, maybe the size of a penny. So nothing that's going to cause any property damage necessarily, but definitely, to be concerned about. There could be a couple small hail cores there moving east of Delaware now, just north and west of Sunbury there, and areas actually moving towards Sparta and northwest of Centerburg. So we'll watch that to see how that trend continues. But Chris, I know you would agree with that. Wind is still going to be the primary concern.
Yeah, big time. That's what
along
really,
with rain.
Yeah, heavy rain and lightning, of course. But yeah, the wind, 60 mile per hour winds. You were looking at the velocity earlier, and you still showed pockets of 58 to 60 mile per hour winds, and that can do some damage if it rolls into your neighborhood. That's why I know if it's trash day, it's going to blow your trash can down the road for sure.
Yeah, and I'm going to switch it back. I know that the one thing, this radar, it does update periodically, so sometimes we'll go with losing the data periodically, but it's still, a couple spots right there showing where we might have some, at least a little bit stronger winds, still probably 50 to maybe up to 60 miles per hour, but that could be a good thing, Chris, that we might start to lose some of that steam here in the next 40 minutes. Definitely want to see that. We never want to have to deal with severe weather, of course. And I know we've emphasized it here through the last several days when we issued that 10 weather impact alert back over the weekend, that we were never expecting any widespread severe thunderstorms. It was just going to be, 1, 2, 3 storms that could get strong enough to produce severe weather. And of course, that's what we're seeing. We're only seeing, 1 or 2 storms right now that are actually almost severe. The rest of them are just producing a lot of heavy rain and still some gusty winds. Still something to be concerned about. But nothing severe. Yeah, so which is good news, but we of course have that watch still in effect.
We do indeed. So this was recently expanded over the top of the Columbus metro area. This is a severe thunderstorm watch from the Weather Service until 10 p.m. tonight. Notice they have basically erased a lot of the northern and northwest counties because the risk is over there. The front's already passed through, the temperatures are dropping, the situation is stabilizing, and that's what you're going to see on the backside as well. They'll start to take away some of these counties, but they'll obviously remain over the top of Columbus until we get through this line of thunderstorms, which will take probably another hour or so for it to move through here. We're just now seeing it kind of encroach upon Franklin County and Delaware County, and so it will take a little bit of time for this to get through. Aaron, let's go back to the live radar and look at that severe thunderstorm warning and just kind of see what the current state of affairs is. So again, you've got this basically mirroring this entire line of thunderstorms as it moves in with this cold front. So there is your warning box, which does include parts of Franklin County and Delaware County and Union County, and it's this box that runs until 8:30. So another 6 minutes on that. And it's the line that's pushing out 60 mile per hour winds. That's the big threat with this. That's what's really triggering this warning. And so that does include parts of the Columbus metro area. We'll see if it gets extended as we approach 8:30, but you have these pockets where you have winds that are just strong enough to do that. And then you've got these other areas up to the north with heavy rain, maybe even just a tiny bit of hail, lots of lightning as we kind of put the ETA on this to see what the arrival times are. So for Powell, it's basically there. You've got Grandview Heights at 8:46. London, it's right on your doorstep. Washington Courthouse, you might get clipped. We'll see. Mount Vernon, if this holds together, probably around 8:45. If it runs through Columbus and it holds together, it's somewhere around 8:45 to 8:50 p.m.
Yeah, so we're going to keep an eye on that. And as we are talking about these storms, if we can switch it over to weather 2, I want to actually look at the hour-by-hour forecast here to actually kind of look at these storms. And this isn't giving us the greatest picture of how these storms look on the radar right now, but of course, this is a computer projection, so we're going to continue to watch these slowly build to the east as we go through the 10 o'clock hour. Again, 1 or 2 of them could be severe, producing those winds gusting up to 60 miles per hour. And then once we get past that time, eventually these are going to really move away and really fall apart. They're losing that steam as we get later on. But we could still see some showers as we get into tomorrow morning, and then just some rain showers periodically as we go through the day, and maybe some storms further to the south. So we will have to watch that. But as we talk about our threats overall here as we go through, the next couple of hours, the tornado threats could be pretty low. Really focus on that potential for some damaging wind gusts here as we go through this next short while. And if we switch it back over to weather 1, I believe we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning. Chris, if you want to talk about that.
Yep, indeed. So our concern was, okay, well, what will happen? Will they extend this this warning? And so it now covers a lot more area here. This will run until 9:30. Not surprised, because this entire line is pushing out wind, and that's what we're seeing here. The hail's not severe, but the wind is 60 miles per hour. So just think of this whole line pushing out like a wave of wind as it comes in here. There's Delaware County, you've got Franklin County, and now it does include parts of Licking County as well, even Union County on the backside. So what will happen is, as this storm continues to move towards the east, it will continue to push winds, 60-mile-an-hour winds, across a lot of Columbus, across a lot of Delaware County, and on into a lot of Licking County as well. So Aaron's looking at the velocity on this and trying to see exactly what the winds are being estimated. Our radar can estimate what the wind speeds are here. So there's Dublin right there. Powell, you've got wind. Worthington, you're up next. Westerville, Galena, and then most likely in a short time, parts of the Columbus metro area and to the north on 270. You can see these bright spots. Those are where the higher winds are that our radar actually thinks that we're seeing gusts of higher magnitudes there. Upper Arlington, Hilliard, you're likely in the wind right now. This is estimating a 56 mile per hour velocity there that Aaron's kind of honing in on. So it's not a hail issue, it's not a tornado issue, it's mainly a strong, gusty outflow type of wind that we're seeing with this line of thunderstorms. And again, that severe thunderstorm warning now runs until 9:30 for a lot of the north side of the Columbus metro area.
Yeah, so we're going to be watching that here very closely as we go through the next 30 minutes or so, as we have that severe thunderstorm warning in effect right now, as we can see that velocity is showing up. If we can actually switch it back over to weather 2, I want to take a look at this radar picture here a little bit closer. You can see there's the warning, again, including the northern part of Franklin County, northwestern parts of Licking County, Delaware County, and this storm is moving to the east. These are moving at about 30 to 35 miles per hour, and we're still watching the storm that's even back to the west. This one actually having a little bit more of a bow shape to it. Sometimes we talk in the weather world about these structures that the storms have when they have this sort of backward C shape, a bow, like a bow and arrow. That could be a surge of some higher wind, and we might be seeing that now east of Dayton. That would be moving into parts of Madison County and parts of Fayette County here in about the next 30 minutes. So watching these two storms closely here on the radar picture, and just going to be really focused on that, Chris, as we go through the next 30 to 45 minutes as we have those severe thunderstorm warnings in effect.
So just getting some photos in here from Stacia Knockin.
Okay.
Our co-worker here. She says, facing west from Dublin. And when you look at these photos, I mean, that's a really nice looking structure right there.
Good looking shelf cloud there.
Exactly. So as the thunderstorm was rolling in from her perspective, and this is Stacia, you might know Stacia. She anchors a lot of the midday and afternoon, early evening shows does amazing reporting. Well, she's sending us a couple of photos, and yeah, it fits with what we're seeing on
definitely.
radar.
And I'm going to actually switch it up to one of our tower cams
Yes,
here, looking
right.
towards the storm. And you can see a little bit of structure. Of course, the storm is still just a little bit away, and we're at least seeing the darker clouds, and wouldn't be surprised if
Is that
we
a
see
rainbow over there? I can't tell.
Maybe,
I have no idea.
Some color there.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely some good structure in that storm, and we'll try to get some of those photos in here as we continue to track these severe thunderstorm warnings, and having a little trouble with one of our computers. But you can see, at least on the Scioto Audubon tower cam looking towards the north, you can see downtown, of course, and then back behind it, those storms moving into the northwest metro right now that currently have those severe thunderstorm warnings in effect.
Yeah. I want to go back to the radar here. Oh, they've got.
Yep, I got it here.
Okay, you've got it right there. I'll walk over here and just talk a little bit about this. So we started by tracking an early warning, which was this first box right here. And that one had 60-mile-per-hour winds. Then the new box, this box right here, which covers Licking County, Delaware, northern Franklin, that is in effect until 9:30. Both of these are because of 60-mile-per-hour winds. So the whole line right here is pushing out these outflow, these 60-mile-per-hour winds, which can do damage. You can have down tree limbs, power lines, it can blow your personal property off, down the street, that can easily happen. This is the velocity, so we can look inside of this. The radar can look inside and estimate what the winds are actually doing and what the wind speeds or velocities are in this case. So you see these brighter spots just around Dublin, Plain City, for example. There's Hilliard. Dublin, that's sort of where we got that photo from Stacia. She was looking off towards the west there. 60-mile-per-hour winds, so that's a severe level of wind. A gust there coming out. You've got Upper Arlington. You're likely going to see strong winds. North side of the Columbus Metro, Worthington, Westerville, Powell, Delaware, Sunbury. You can see how the storm is sort of tilting out in this direction, so it's likely that it's going to be moving towards a lot of Licking County. And over there you've got New Albany, Gahanna in line for this. You've got Jersey Township, Johnstown. As we put the ETA on this, we'll see what it pulls up as far as estimated times of arrival. So let's see, we're at 8:32, so Upper Arlington's coming up fast. Columbus, if it holds together, will likely feel this here. Maybe heavy rain, lightning, and strong winds at 8:40. There's Bexley, Gahanna at 8:45. Utica, obviously further down the road at 8:50. Reynoldsburg, Pickerington, 8:50-ish. There's Alexandria, and eventually, where I'm from, Granville, at about 9 o'clock.
Yeah, so I mean, these are moving at now. They're maybe picking up a little bit of speed. I would say still 30 to 35 miles per hour, but not surprised to see at least a couple pockets where we're seeing some of those stronger winds around Dublin and Powell right now. And again, not everyone's going to see these 60-mile-per-hour winds. Even if you have the severe thunderstorm warning, you will likely see at least winds gusting up over 40 miles per hour, but it's going to be a very small area, as you saw with the velocity picture there, where we are going to have those stronger winds here with this severe thunderstorm warning that's moving through right now, Delaware and Franklin County. And then, as Chris mentioned, eventually going to be moving towards Licking County, eventually getting towards Granville and Jersey Township, Alexandria, even back towards New Albany into Franklin County. So we're watching that storm, of course, but we're also watching another part of this line that's getting ever so closer to Madison County, because this one is also severe. This is a severe thunderstorm warning that includes the western part of Madison County and into areas further to the south and west, where we're watching this line moving in. And if we switch it back to the velocity picture here, not seeing as good of an indication of very strong winds, but I'm still wouldn't be surprised to see winds of at least 50, 55 miles per hour, if not up to 60. So out of precaution, the National Weather Service is issuing that severe thunderstorm warning. And we have the two different warnings in effect. They have two different times that they are allowed to expire. This one going until 9 p.m. for Madison and parts of Fayette County. And the one to the north that we're focused on, also around Columbus and the north side up into Delaware County, that one going until, I believe, 9:15.
That one's 9:15?
9:15. Let's see.
Okay.
Yep. 9:30, I should
9:30?
9:30 for that one.
And that one's also just wind at this point.
Yep.
So you can see what the track of this, the expectation is that this line will continue to move through this box and into Licking County. You've got Pataskala, Reynoldsburg, Pickerington right there. All areas should be watching out for this in these 60-mile-per-hour winds. Mount Vernon, even though you're outside the box, you're likely going to see some wind out of this as well. But the winds, and look at that pink showing up right there just around the Dublin area. You've got some deep reds, even a little bit of pink up there outside of Sunbury. Those would be the stronger parts of that. Precip rate, so we can estimate how much rain would be falling from this on a per hour basis. And where you see these brighter returns, these higher decibels, dBZs, that's almost 5 inches in an hour if you were to get caught beneath that thing. That's a heavy rainer.
Yeah, thankfully they're moving.
Yeah, thankfully they're moving, but that's a 4.8 inch per hour storm cell right there. So these have the potential to produce a lot of rain in a short amount of time, along with some very strong winds. Not seeing any big hail signatures with these storms. Just not, this is more of a line, more of a linear type situation with this cold front coming in. But looking at current hail, and sometimes it takes it a moment for it to catch up right here, Aaron, but then we'll take a look at it and see what it says. There it is. So yeah, nothing gigantic, a little bit of light blues, maybe some greens. This is not what you would expect from a giant hail producing thunderstorm.
No, and I mean, if anything, earlier we had a couple spots where you can see right there, this is a little bit about 8:15. We had a couple pockets where it was a little bit stronger there in northern Madison County, and then we had a couple more pockets over by Sunbury of some hail, still not large hail, maybe up to penny size. And then that all kind of fell apart. So really not looking at strong indications for hail tonight. The hail threat is really low. The tornado threat is very low. This is more of a damaging wind potential with those winds that we're already seeing on the velocity picture up to 60 miles per hour. But of course, heavy rainfall as well with these storms. So let's switch it back to the live radar picture here and just kind of looking at those different areas right now.
That's interesting. I was looking at the little storm cells up around Sunbury and Galena and Genoa Township, and definitely looks like there's some heavy rain, obviously a lot of lightning, probably some strong winds as well, 60-mile-per-hour winds. So if you live in the Johnstown area, zoom in on that area if you wouldn't mind, right in here, Aaron. Yeah. So this storm cell right up here, you see some of the pink showing up, even some of the reds right here. Also, this storm cell, some of the deep reds, those are the stronger parts of these. So Johnstown, you're up next. You've got 62, which runs right down into New Albany. There's Alexandria right there. Likely going to see the winds move into these areas. 60-mile-per-hour winds, heavy rain, and a lot of lightning. All the way back, Blendon Township, Worthington, Dublin, you're in it right now. So each one of these little segments, these little storm cells are pushing out very strong winds. Aaron's going to put on a little ETA here, and we fold it out, and then we can get an ETA. There's Granville right there. There's Jersey Township. Reynoldsburg, 9:03. So you've got about 25 minutes, roughly. Gahanna, 8:57. That's coming up. New Albany, right around that time. Columbus, 8:51. How close are we? So it's just to the north of us right now. In Columbus, Upper Arlington's coming, 8:47. Hilliard, 8:40, so we're almost there in the Hilliard area, but really the big risk, heavy rain, lightning, and 60-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah, I mean, still some pretty intense storms, and I'm looking at some of the stuff the National Weather Service is talking about with these storms. Again, they're still looking at the potential for up to 60 miles per hour. There were some reports of some trees that, at least partial trees that were knocked down around Brookville.
That's not surprising.
Yeah,
60-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah, so not surprised to see that. Of course, hopefully we don't see too much damage with these storms, but I mentioned it earlier, so for anyone just joining us now here on our on 10 TV streaming, we are watching these severe thunderstorms, potential for up to 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. That's going to be the main concern as we go through the rest of this evening. And I mentioned it earlier, but if we have any, of course, trees that have any tree rot, any older trees, it doesn't take a lot of wind to really knock them down. So that's the concern why we have some of these severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. And it looks like we just got a new one
on the southern
issued there for the
southern part.
So I'm going to pan the camera down here, the map down, just so you can see what we're all looking at. And that's a new severe thunderstorm warning, including a larger area, Madison, Franklin County. That also includes, looks like northern Fayette County into parts of Fairfield County.
Yeah, that's also till 9:30, and that's
I'm sorry, Pickaway County. Looks like
60-mile-an-hour winds,
okay,
as expected.
Yeah, so and it looks like it's picking up some steam. I believe it says 45 miles per hour to the east. So let's go ahead and let me put a track on that if we want to look at that storm
go right ahead. Yep.
In a little bit more detail. So 45 miles per hour. So this was the southern end might be maybe picking up a little bit more steam here and trying to catch up to the northern part of it. So this is moving 45 miles per hour.
Yeah, so you've got a warning on the north. Essentially now most of Franklin County is covered in this. You've also, so there's John Glenn. That's it. In 9:08 arrival time. Obetz, let's see, Obetz, where are you? 9:12. Lily Chapel. Yeah, I mean, you can see it. Puts it basically in Columbus at 9 p.m., right on the nose there. Groveport at 9:16. So the movement is in this direction to the east. You've got the northern part pushing out 60-mile-an-hour winds. You've got the southern part coming in with 60-mile-per-hour winds, and the two are kind of merging. And this is a great perspective right here.
Yeah, you can see that structure now.
Right
There's that shelf cloud.
Yeah, this is what we were looking at in that photo that Stacia sent in. You could see that shelf cloud. You've got wind being pushed out from that. You can see some of the clouds rushing off at the higher elevations there. But there's your shelf cloud right there, Aaron. So
yeah, and I mean it's still warm out of the head of the storm, 83 degrees, and we were talking about that. Interesting structure to see that moving into Columbus, and we see these often with these stronger thunderstorms where you get this lowering of the clouds, where you get some of that cooler air pushing out ahead with those strong winds. And once that cloud formation there, where you see the darker clouds and it gets a little bit brighter, that's what we are talking about. Basically, once that passes over, and I'm going to step over here so you can see this area right there, that's your shelf cloud. Once that passes overhead, that's when the wind hits, and that's when the heavy rain hits. So that's the front edge, that leading edge of these thunderstorms. So you're likely seeing some ominous clouds, but I do want to emphasize that we are not talking about any tornado threat. This is all a wind threat. So sometimes when we see these clouds, they may look ominous, they may look scary, and these are dangerous storms. That's why they're severe. But I just want to emphasize that we are not talking about any tornado risk tonight.
Yeah, nothing like that right now. You know what? Go back to the live radar, and let's take a look at that storm. So this time, put it into motion. Let's see what it looks like as it comes rolling in here. So we'll put the motion on this. Everything started way out here on the other side of 75 with this cold front. And now you can see the movement. Everything is holding together. And look at those little pink areas right there. That's what we were just looking at up in parts moving into Licking County right now. And then you've got the southern part coming out of London, just to the north of Washington Courthouse. And so again, not a hail issue here with this, but it is a wind issue. It's a 60-mile-per-hour wind issue as this all rolls into town here. 60-mile-per-hour winds are all very, very likely with this. So this warning box, again, runs until 9:30. This one also runs until 9:30 with this entire line of showers, thunderstorms, high winds, all of that. And we also have this. I want to go back to this. This is a severe thunderstorm watch for all these pink counties, and this runs until 10 p.m. If everything rolls through Columbus at 9, you give it another hour and then it rolls east, certainly this will be done by 10. Just looking at it from that perspective, let me show you what our forecast radar is showing right now. So, okay, let me bring this up to the current moment. All right, let's say 8:40, there's 9 p.m. It's got some of this. It's not, I mean, it's showing a little bit of orange and red there, so it's very close. It's not right on the mark, but it's very close. Well, anyway, when you move this ahead, there's 10, 11. So by 11 o'clock tonight, what this does is it takes all of the energy, Columbus South, and transfers it to the north. All of it begins to move away, cooler air has moved in, and the atmosphere has stabilized across a lot of central Ohio. where the strong to severe risk is now sliding away by the time we get to 11 o'clock. Now, as we move through the night into the early morning hours tomorrow, it's very possible we'll wake up for the morning rush hour, let's just say at 5 a.m. There'll be some scattered rain showers, but nothing strong, nothing severe, but certainly some rain showers around the area. Let me take you through the day, and I'm going to go to noon. So here we are at noon, and there's definitely some rain showers. You can easily see that across a lot of Ohio at that point. So it could be a little bit wet during the rush hour. Now, this model is really slow to improve things in the afternoon. I actually think it'll happen faster than what it's showing here. That's the 5 o'clock hour. You can see right there it's wet at lunch, and then it's much drier by 5 p.m. All right, so to recap, we'll go back to live radar here, and I want to show you what this looks like. So we've got a couple of different severe thunderstorm. Let me take the lightning off, that's really distracting. A couple of different severe thunderstorm warning boxes here. You've got one up on the north side, which does include, you've got Delaware, Franklin, Licking, Union counties, and that runs until 9:30. The one on the southern part, basically these are all part of the same line, that one is for Fayette, Franklin, Madison, Pickaway until 9:30. Both of these are for 60-mile-per-hour winds, and that's exactly what we're seeing with both of them. So the line has held together, and when I say the line, I mean this line right here. You've got some oranges, you've got some reds in there. Those are the stronger parts, and again, it's pushing out strong winds, 60-mile-per-hour winds out ahead of this thing as it rolls into town. So that's what makes it severe in this case.
Yeah, and I mean, it's getting pretty dark out there. It's definitely an ominous sight if we take a look at our tower cam. This is on Weather 2, as we are seeing that shelf cloud again moving over the northwest metro. Again, it's going to be, it's getting dark already pretty quickly. You can see it right there as we're watching the front edge of this thunderstorm building in from the west, with both of those severe thunderstorm warnings that are currently in effect for really the entire Columbus metro. You saw some lightning right there as well, so that's going to be the other danger here with, of course, all these thunderstorms. They are producing quite a bit of lightning. We've mentioned it already. This is one of those days where we have a lot of humidity. A lot of the dew points are up there into the 60s, around 70. It feels almost tropical out there. So when that happens, there is a lot of static in the atmosphere, and that allows for a lot more lightning to be produced by these thunderstorms. So not a surprise to see just how intense some of these storms are really becoming in terms of the lightning aspect, but also producing those really high wind. So I'm going to switch this back over to the radar here, just about bear with me, but you can see there on our tower camera, definitely a darker sky, an ominous view as that shelf cloud starting to roll in here over the metro. So here's a look at the radar picture just overall. We can see that there's the strikes just below where it says 10 weather impact. We're talking about over 170 strikes in the last 15 to 30 minutes. So there's a lot of static, there's a lot of electricity with these thunderstorms, so that's one of the reasons why they're so intense. But not only are they producing lightning, they're producing torrential rainfall. We've talked about rainfall rates anywhere from 2 to 4 inches per hour. Now, these storms are not sitting over the same locations for an hour. They are moving at 30 to 45 miles per hour, so they are moving, but in a short amount of time, they are still producing some pretty good downpours in addition to that potential for some 60-mile-per-hour wind. So that's a look at the radar picture right now. I'm switching this over to the velocity, so just to see what we are looking at in terms of the overall wind. And this is the radar picture out of Wilmington. So we're looking in and around Madison County. They're just near London, and there is some brighter pink showing up, so that's an indication that we could be seeing where you see that box that says velocity 45 miles per hour. Those are some pretty strong winds that, even though they may not be up to that 60-mile-per-hour threshold for some of those older trees, some trees with rot, those could knock down some branches. So this is definitely a strong thunderstorm that is currently moving through areas around Madison County, producing quite a bit of lightning. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch this over to the radar out of the Airport over at John Glenn. This is one of our other radars just to see what we're looking at for the northern storm. And there's definitely some areas where we are getting at least a little bit stronger winds. I'm not seeing the bright blues anymore, indicating that we're starting to see any 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So that's a good sign that maybe we're getting to that point that things may be weakening. Again, we are getting now past sunset.
Right.
So definitely, maybe that's a good sign. That's what we want to see. We want to see that trend down and not have to worry about any more severe weather. But for at least right now, we have those 2 severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for the North Metro, with the northern storms moving into Licking County now, Delaware County, and of course the core back in Madison County there with that storm.
And there we go. Thank you, Nate. I appreciate that. So these are the current temperatures across central Ohio. And one thing that stands out very clearly is this demarcation line right here. You see that? That's the cold front. And the difference in temperature in front of and behind this cold front is pretty dramatic, right? So it's still 82 in Columbus, 65 in Bucyrus, 68 in Kent. Now, some of these temperatures are rain cooled, no doubt, but it is warm and it is humid out ahead of this cold front. Behind it, behind this line of thunderstorms, it is much cooler. This is the effect that this front will have. It will stabilize things once it moves through. It may still rain, but the severe risk will go way down once this front comes through. So that's the front. Very interesting to see that, Aaron. Let's go back to the radar if we can. And I want to take a look at the 2 boxes that we have in place. Let's go back to the other computer if we can, Nate. Thanks.
Loading it up here on Weather 1, so bear with me just for a moment.
So both of those warnings, both of these boxes, these orange boxes, which now basically cover all of Columbus, runs until 9:30. Aaron, will you put an ETA, drag it all the way down to Lancaster this time? I want to see, and all the way through Newark as well, but I want to see what the ETAs are with this. Yeah, nice. Let's see if we can't get it to cover it. We did indeed. Okay, so you've got Pataskala. That's 9:19. So Westerville, that's right on your doorstep. Circleville, if it holds together, at 9:23. Groveport at 9:15. These are arrival times of this line, assuming it holds its shape. Upper Arlington, it's right on your doorstep. Then you've got Lancaster, Newark's in here as well. So this is the direction of movement, which will take it off towards the east. It's basically running out I-70 at this point. What else do we got? We've got Hannah there, Columbus. It comes at about 9. So yeah, we're going to watch for it at about 9 here, which is obviously where we're located. But there's our line. Aaron, you were looking at velocity, and you said some of the velocities have come down a little bit, right? That's what you were saying?
Yeah, it kind of appears that way. So
yeah, so now we're on velocity.
And let me switch it back to the other radar. Just gives us a little bit better picture when these storms get a little bit closer to Columbus. And there's still a couple pockets, right, especially there. If we go back to Madison, Madison County there, that's probably the strongest that we have seen.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, south of London, you see the estimate of 70-mile-per-hour winds. So that's definitely a severe level of wind that will do damage. And that's being pushed out ahead of this line of thunderstorms. There it is. You see how linear it is, how it's very straight right here? All that wind is being pushed out from London out I-71. Eventually, this will all have to come through central Ohio. It'll all have to come through Franklin County and Licking County and Fairfield County. It's just a matter of, well, will it hold together? You know, that's what we're going to see.
Yeah,
that's
and I think we're getting some wind kind of surging right there in the middle. It's creating that bow shape.
Yeah, a little bit of a notch right there on the backside. So, yeah, you have to fuel these things. I mean, they're blowing wind out the front, so they're going to need some sort of a fuel from the back there, and you can see that on the backside. But so there's another view of the velocity. It's interesting.
This is the one from Wilmington, so it's also showing that core. Yeah. It's not as strong.
No, not on that one.
So definitely still, I would still say there's probably a concern for at least up to 60 miles per hour. It may not be as high as what we were seeing with that 70. The thing to keep in mind when we're looking at these radar images here is that the radar is still, several miles away, so we're actually looking a little bit higher up, not at the ground, but a little bit higher up. And while there could be 70-mile-per-hour winds, a couple thousand feet up, is not going to be necessarily at the ground where it's going to cause some damage, but we are still looking at that potential for these stronger winds here in Madison County. These are going to be moving into Franklin County and areas to the south as well, again into Pickaway County, northern Fayette County, and this all the way goes up with that same line as this is going to be really rolling through the Columbus metro. So wasn't surprising that we talked about earlier, Chris, as the National Weather Service, as we were live here on 10 TV streaming, that they expanded that severe thunderstorm watch. And of course, now we're seeing that the atmosphere, the environment here is still, good for severe weather to occur. We're still hoping that now that we're getting past sunset, that things are going to start to settle down a little bit here.
Yeah, this line will have to come through, Aaron. Obviously, I think we were timing it out here in Columbus at about 9 p.m., 9:03, something like that. It will come through with some wind and rain and lightning, and then behind it, the temperature will start to drop. But that whole line is going to come into Licking County as well.
Yep.
And those areas can expect those gusty winds, those 60 mile per hour winds until, I don't know, 9:30, whenever that thing runs. And you've got the ETA on there, and you can see some of the, Columbus at about 9:05,
9:05, 9:08. Yeah, depending on what part of the metro you're in, of course, areas in the northwest already getting hit, areas in central Columbus around downtown closer to 9:08, so maybe 10, 15 minutes at best. So if you live in anywhere in Franklin County, if you live in Licking County, areas down to Pickaway County, of course, Fayette County, Fairfield County, back to Madison County, those are where we're watching these storms right now. So just be advised, just be aware of what's going on. Basically just stay inside and, wait it out, then things will be better. Tonight, we're not tracking any severe weather once this line rolls through, so everything will be a-okay once we get past midnight. And of course, tomorrow, that cold front sweeps through tonight and no more storms.
No,
at least for a while.
No more. Did you leave your trash can out tonight?
I don't have to worry about that. So thankfully, that's not tonight.
It's not going to blow down the street tonight.
No, which is a good thing. So, but for people that of course did maybe some areas maybe still have a little bit of time to bring it in or just deal with it tomorrow, I guess, right?
That's right. So, all right, yeah. So what is it, about 9 p.m. right now? 8:57. Yeah. So we've got a line of thunderstorms moving into central Ohio right now. The main risk is going to be 60 mile per hour winds. As these roll in, you can start to see that red there on that velocity, which is the radar seeing some of that wind move into town, and it can estimate that London area. You see that brighter patch right there? That may be some stronger winds estimated right there, but that's what we're looking at, a wall of wind moving into central Ohio with this cold front, this line of storms, and even some heavy rain, and of course some lightning as this all comes in.
Yeah, and I feel like that's still, that's the strongest wind that we've seen really on the velocity picture here there in Madison County. Tried to switch it back to the other one, but it's not having trouble loading some of the data. So I still think there's at least potential for 60 to 65 mile per hour winds there near London. That's moving into eastern Madison County. So this would be affecting areas around Madison Lake State Park, areas around getting closer to West Jefferson. And then if that holds together, this is going to be moving into southwestern Franklin County. So areas around Harrisburg, Grove City, Lincoln Village as well. Consider that you have potential for seeing those 60 mile per hour winds moving in fairly soon within the next 15 minutes, because this part of the storm is actually moving at 45 miles per hour, so a little bit faster than what we were seeing earlier, but definitely stronger core of wind potential there in eastern Madison County as compared to the storms a little bit further to the north, Chris, with the storms in Delaware County now moving really out of Delaware County. Still at least the southeastern part, but now really approaching northwestern Licking County. And I know for there in Granville, where you're from, going to be seeing the storms. They're probably seeing the shelf cloud off to the north and west now.
I'm sure they are. Yeah, I'm sure they've got the view of that right now. Maybe even some stronger winds with that. But so these run until 9:30, right?
Yeah, I believe both these warnings are going until 9:30. The northern warning there for northern Franklin County, that one's until 9:30, and this other one is also until 9:30. So we have two different severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect. Both of them are for the same thing with the 60 mile per hour wind gusts, and really the hail threat at this point I think is almost non-existent, aside from maybe pea-sized hail in a couple spots, but if you're watching us right now, I wouldn't worry about hail. I'd be worried about those stronger winds here moving through across central Ohio really at the present time.
Yeah, let's take just a quick look at this before we hit 9 p.m. here. And so there's Columbus. You've got one warning box here till 9:30, another one to the north. This one definitely has some strong wind with it being pushed out towards the I-71 corridor right there, 60-mile-an-hour winds at least.
I'm going to put a track on that
Put
one.
a track on this one, see what shows up out here. So you've got Groveport, there's Pickerington right there. This is all going to capture the south side of the metro area south of I-70. And so Columbus, the south side, right around 9:10, 9:12, somewhere right in there. The north side's already in it. You can see the northern storm cell affecting a lot of the north side. But Groveport, 9:22, Pickerington, 9:30-ish. Lancaster, obviously further down the road, so that's about 9:45. Mount Sterling is in there at 9:03. So 60-mile-per-hour winds and obviously some very strong strong wind, but also some heavy rain and also some lightning as these storms roll on into town. And that'll be in effect till 9:30.
Yeah, and I'm going to switch it back over to the lightning here just to see, you know, we've talked about this a little bit here. Once it loads, we are still seeing quite a bit of lightning strikes. Again, these are high, energy storms that we have that, because of all the moisture that's in the atmosphere here today. We've talked about it. Chris, you mentioned that earlier today we had those temperatures up into the 80s, but when you factor in the dew points, the humidity, it felt like it was into the lower 90s. So kind of that tropical feel, really. And that's all been feeding the storms. As these storms have been rolling in, they're feeding off that moisture. And because of how much moisture there is, there's a lot of static, there's a lot of electricity. So that's why we're seeing so many lightning strikes. And at one point we were seeing lightning strikes over, almost 200 in the last 15 to 30 minutes. So there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of static, and these storms are just going to feed on that for at least the next short while. But the thing that they're losing, one thing that provides the energy, is we have the sun during the day that really heats things up and allows for some more energy. The sun's set already, so we're losing some of that energy as these storms are tapping into it, feeding off of it, and then basically using it all up. So we're kind of getting to that point now where we might start to see these storms gradually weaken, because I think once we get towards 10 p.m., 11 p.m., but especially towards midnight, we're likely going to be, seeing the storms, the severe threat at least end, because as we've talked about, that severe thunderstorm watch going in effect until 10 p.m. So once we get past that point, we'll probably kind of see things winding down, which of course is what we want. We never want to have to deal with severe weather, but of course when we do, we will be always here on 10 TV, streaming and on 10 TV if we have to, for any severe weather information to keep everyone safe. But this is what we got going on right now. 2 severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. Chris just put this into motion so you can see the trend building, really, I would say at this point, due east, with these storms moving at probably 45. I think that southern one moving a little bit faster. And I mentioned that backward C shape right there, that bow shape to it. That's where we're getting that core of some stronger wind here in eastern Madison County, moving into southwestern Franklin County. So that's going to be the concern here for the next short while. And we'll have to see what happens with that northern storm, even the storm that's now into Columbus. Chris, if you want to zoom in on that cell there, just now really centered over Upper Arlington, Worthington, definitely some heavy rainfall. That's probably one of the stronger signals of maybe some rainfall rates of 2 to 3, 4 inches per hour. Thankfully, it's moving faster than that, and we don't have to worry about that much rain, but I wouldn't be surprised if while it's sitting over there, we get a quick quarter of an inch in some spots, maybe a half an inch of rainfall here in some spots for tonight. But definitely a lot of lightning with the storms, an ominous view if you're not getting the storm yet. If you live in Gahanna, New Albany, looking towards the west, it probably looks fairly ominous. It's getting dark out, of course, now, and we got darker skies moving in with these clouds and the storms that are currently on their way. And this is a look at the rainfall rate. So we've mentioned this, Chris has mentioned this before. This is showing how heavy the rain is if it was over the course of an hour. And these storms are not going to stay on for an hour, but they're going to be moving but they're still producing a lot of rainfall. And now we're also taking a look at our Skyview camera. So this is looking towards downtown, and you can see the clouds have moved over. So we're getting the vantage point looking towards the south and east. So we're looking opposite from the storm. So as that storm, that shelf cloud passed over the tower and looking towards the south and east, you can see the lower end. So where you see that lighter coloring there in the sky, way past downtown, that's just some clear skies. But the front edge of the storm now moving over the city and making that just that contrast there, that darker sky as the clouds are moving in. And soon we're going to get some torrential rainfall here into downtown, and kind of waiting to see if we get a few lightning strikes. Of course, there is still a lot of lightning. The camera's shaking a little bit now because this camera is located on our tower. Again, we're actually looking down towards downtown. So this tower, if you've driven by on 315, this is a pretty tall tower, so the camera's up there pretty far. So not surprising to see some of those stronger winds with that thunderstorm as it's approaching from the north and west. And we're watching, again, kind of two different areas. That one cell that's moving in over the north metro, pushing some of the clouds in as well. We saw that shelf cloud on one of our other tower cameras. And now really, Chris, I mean, looking at that one right there, I mean, that's probably the strongest cell, at least the last 15 minutes, because it really just has that backward C shape. And I would be more concerned about that thing than anything else right now. Just with that potential for some of those stronger winds here. Yep. I think they're in Madison County now, crossing into Franklin County with that that bow shape, that structure there. Probably getting some winds, as we saw there on the velocity picture, getting closer to, I would say, 65. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some 65-mile-per-hour wind gusts.
See what that looks like here as we switch over to velocity. You can see some of the brighter reds.
Yeah.
Some of the brighter reds indicating the possibility of some stronger outflow type winds here with this line of thunderstorms here. So you've already got winds now hitting a lot of the metro area. This is estimating 50 mile per hour. So that's below severe limits. It's in the strong category. And you sampled this area right here, Aaron? Is that right?
Yeah, okay. And I'm gonna switch it over. We'll see if the data loads in, because I feel like the other radar is going to give us just a little bit better picture. And
that's still bright back there, but that's, I don't know, that's
and
still 58.
And I think this is still a little bit higher up, so we might be getting to the point where we don't have the 60-mile-per-hour winds, but still 50 to 55.
Okay.
Definitely a possibility.
What would you estimate the winds are doing here in the Columbus metro area? How are they looking up there?
Yeah, let me switch it back there.
That'd be interesting to see. We still have some red. Obviously, this is all wind moving in with this line of thunderstorms.
Yeah. I would say, I mean, we're probably at least getting some 35,
it's
40.
Not as big.
Yeah, so at least strong.
Yeah.
But what it's going to be is going to be watching this
30, 35, maybe 40 mile per hour winds.
Yeah, and I feel like this that where we're seeing those 50, the little bit stronger winds, that is, if we play this back a little bit, let me zoom out just a smidge, just because that trend, it's building at least towards the south side, for sure. So if you're in Grove City, if you're in Lincoln Village areas to the south, that's where basically I would say that's going to be heading towards southern Franklin County, those stronger winds right now.
Harrisburg, 71. Yeah, we'll see if that holds together. I mean, there's definitely stronger winds down here than there are up here with that northern component. This seems like a weaker piece, a weaker storm cell than what we're seeing down here, at least as far as wind goes. They're all going to have heavy rain and lightning with them as we do an ETA. I think Aaron will probably reset that.
Yeah, the radar just updated as I was about to draw it, so let's get a little bit better estimate.
We'll draw that out, and we'll include Grove City there, Groveport as well. Obetz, so 911, it's basically there in Grove City. Obetz 919, Pickerington 930, Baltimore 939, and Lancaster at 943. So it will basically run straight out to the east, out I-70. And it's really the two pieces of the line all sort of coming together right here as well. You did another sample at 58.
Yeah, we got
that's
that new
down
updates.
Here, right?
Yeah, no, it's just right there in southwestern Franklin County. Okay. So a little right where we're kind of seeing those couple pockets. I'm going to clear it off, and just that bright spot north of Harrisburg. That's where that's where the 58 one was, and
Okay.
the 56
Well, that
was
makes
there
sense.
west of Grove City. So, yeah, I mean, it definitely has that signature that we're going to get some higher wind gusts with these storms. So, of course, we want to watch it through Franklin County. That warning going until 9:30. It may be a situation where this ramped up for a little bit, and once we get that next radar update, maybe we'll start to see that kind of tone down. So it may have gotten to a point where it just kind of gusted out for a moment, and then if we see those brighter pinks that was right near Harrisburg and Grove City, west of Grove City, with the next radar scan, hopefully those start to fall apart. But in any case, there's still winds of at least 50 miles per hour moving into southern Franklin County and impacting the south metro of Columbus. So Grove City, Groveport, back towards Harrisburg, and even into areas further east. There's the next update, and it's still holding its own.
Yeah.
Definitely showing some signs that we're talking about some fairly strong winds. So for anyone just joining us now here on 10 TV streaming, this is what we're looking at for the core of some of the strongest winds that we're seeing here this evening with any of the storms right now. In southwestern Franklin County, that's going to be moving towards the east, northeast at about 45 miles per hour. And that's going to, again, continue it through areas here in Franklin County, southern
so they
Franklin
extended
County.
that southern part out.
Okay, so that's probably going to take it over there. Yep, to the even further to the east now. So this is the latest severe thunderstorm warning that we have here in central Ohio. And this one probably, I would assume, probably going to get closer to 10 p.m. for that expiration.
It is 10 60
p.m.
mile an hour winds, yeah.
Okay, so 10 p.m. So this one also including Franklin County, but this also takes it into parts of Licking County, Fairfield County, and also including Pickaway County for that 60 mile per hour wind. And I know you can see it there in the box where it says hail size less than 0.75. That's basically less than the size of a penny. So we're not really focused on any hail potential. We've mentioned that the hail threat is low for tonight. The tornado threat is very low for tonight. Not looking at anything. The highest threat is what we've been talking about. We've been on for just about almost an hour and a half now with these storms here on 10 TV streaming, and they've all been severe thunderstorm warnings for winds up to 60 miles per hour. That's, of course, just been that highest threat that we've had here for tonight. So this is that newest warning. You can see, again, it includes southeastern Franklin County, moving off towards the east, really including a pretty large area. But as we were talking about just a moment ago before this warning was issued, it does still seem like it's just this core right in here, especially in the southwestern part of Franklin County, where we're getting some of those higher winds up to 50 to 60 miles per hour in moving towards the area around Grove City. So if you live in Grove City, going to be getting some fairly strong winds here shortly. Chris is putting this into motion, and it seems like a lot of that is moving again towards the east, and some of it, especially on that southern side, maybe having a little bit more of a northerly component. So it looks like everything's trying to sort of congeal right over Columbus here, and
It's doing what our model was showing, that everything's transferring that energy to the north.
Yep, transferring that energy and really pushing everything together and really going to move it off to the north and east here in the next short while. And that also means that at some point, some of this is going to be losing some more energy. And I feel like even just in the last few scans here, as we put this in motion, this is over the last hour, as this complex was a bit further west, it looked a little bit more intense, and now it may be losing some of that steam, losing some of that energy. It still is showing some signs that it's producing those winds up to 60 miles per hour, which of course is why the National Weather Service extended out this severe thunderstorm warning. But Chris, I mean, looking at how everything's been playing out here and some of those signatures and how everything's sort of congealing now, I wouldn't be surprised if that severe thunderstorm warning that we have until 10 p.m. may end up being the last one, because we're getting past sunset now and might be losing a lot of that energy.
Yeah, I suspect you're right on that one. I think that this will probably be the end of it, certainly by 10.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at everything is just sort of coming together as just one little.
Yeah, just right over here, the southern part kind of moving to northeast and the other part kind of moving to the east, and just right over Columbus. So
You can hear the rain outside.
Yep, you can hear it right now. Might not be coming through the microphone, but you can hear the rain coming down here at 10 TV. So some torrential rainfall that we have moving through the heart of the city, right on through downtown Columbus, Gahanna, back towards Grove City. Probably getting some of those stronger winds if we want to switch it over to the velocity picture just to see how that's updated. And yeah, you can see it there, those brighter pinks and even some pockets where you see a little bit different color there north of Harrisburg. So we're still talking about near severe or actually severe winds, anything over 58 miles per hour. That's and some 62 mile per hour wind gusts. So those are strong winds. That's enough to produce some damage that can knock some branches down.
Let's look at this in motion
and cause some concerns here in southern Franklin County.
5 hours. I'm going to change it to an hour. There we go.
Just kind of watching that surge here. So yeah, I mean, and it covers a large area, and maybe getting a little bit brighter here back into southeastern Madison County. So this is southeast of London. London, you're still probably getting some fairly strong winds up to 30, 40 miles per hour, but it looks like the core of the strongest winds is southeast of you. This would be right around the Madison Lake State Park area and off to the south and east towards Mount Sterling, getting closer to Darbyville. Grove City, basically right over you right now, so you are getting some of the strongest winds there in southern and southwestern parts of Franklin County. Also some stronger winds up there on the north side. Looks like just north of downtown, getting up close towards Gahanna, out towards eventually getting closer to New Albany. But I still feel like this area just really, that's the focus for some of the strongest winds. But even on the north side, we're talking about 39, possibly as high as 45 miles per hour. So those are still some strong winds. And keep in mind, those winds are also driving that rain and just kind of making it sound like there's a lot happening outside. And, there is. It's a severe thunderstorm. There's a lot happening all across central Ohio. Anyone that has a severe thunderstorm warning, if you are in a severe thunderstorm warning, just, take these storms a little serious, because even if we're not talking about tornadoes, these winds can still cause some damage. These are damaging wind gusts. We talk about it all the time when we talk about the threats for severe weather. We always talk about damaging wind gusts, hail, and tornado potential, but today is a damaging wind gust type threat. And that's why we have these severe thunderstorm warnings. And you'll notice at least some more color shown up there, that brighter pink indicating very, very heavy rainfall right over Grove City, in addition to those stronger winds. So the wind driving all that rain and all this just building it towards the east. But I think still we are getting to that point now here tonight. You can see it right there. We're just after 9:15, 9:16 now, that we're after sunset. We're going to be losing energy. That severe thunderstorm watch goes until 10 p.m. We're getting to that point now where things are going to start to settle down. But right now, that's not the case. Right now, we have some strong storms that are producing up to 60 miles per hour, maybe a little bit higher. Chris, if you want to switch it back to velocity,
yes.
If we got another scan there just to see how strong, and I mean, yeah, that's actually coming in past the into the more into the city actually now, with some of those higher winds crossing 270, Interstate 71. These are strong winds that are passing over the 71, 270 interchange on the south side, crossing over 315, getting closer to areas around Highway 23, Highway 33 as well, really impacting downtown and south. So if you live south of downtown, if you live south of I-70, I feel like that's really the dividing line for some of the stronger winds. Now, some of this may still try to shift a little bit to the north, because again, we were saying all this is kind of congealing. So some of these winds may try to still go to the north. But actually, Chris, if you want to put it back onto the current, right in there, right around Grove City. I mean,
yeah,
those
I see that. I'm going to zoom in on that.
Brighter spots, again, right around 270 and 71. I mean, that's probably the strongest signature of strong winds that we've seen all night. I wouldn't be, I mean, we're getting maybe over 65 mile per hour wind gusts there. Again, that's right around, this is the interchange for I-270 and 71 there on the southwest side over towards Grove City. So if you live in this area, if you've been down there, of course, this is, impacting quite a few people there around Stringtown Road, back towards downtown Grove City. Back towards the west. I mean, these are some pockets of, small pockets of some rather intense wind because when you look at it here, this is the legend basically just telling you how strong the winds are. So when we see the red, there's some wind, but when you get towards those brighter colors, especially that tan coloring, that's where it's getting a little bit stronger. Now, one thing I do want to emphasize with this is that this is looking at the radar picture, but this is looking at the radar, I believe, out of Wilmington.
That's right.
So this is, several miles away. This is, pretty far away. We're talking about, 2 counties away. So this is actually looking higher up into the atmosphere because
that's
of
right.
How the Earth is curved. It's going to be looking a bit, maybe 2,000 feet up.
So it could be overestimating.
Yeah, which hopefully it is. And hopefully we don't have to worry about those strong winds, at least up to 65 miles per hour. But even with that, I wouldn't be surprised if we're still at least getting 50 mile per hour gusts here at the surface.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'll go back to radar. And you know what, though? I mean, there's the more intense part of the storm cell. So, I mean, that
right
fits
over it.
that pink shade right there. You mentioned Stringtown Road, but, I mean, that's the most... That pink blob, that's where we're seeing a lot of the big-time wind that we just looked at with the velocity scope right there. But here's what's left of it. The south side is definitely weakened.
Yeah.
Way down there near Washington Courthouse. But this is what's left. I mean, this is our line of severe thunderstorms. So we still have the orange boxes that run until 10 p.m.
Yeah.
It's all rain, just rain behind it. So it's this leading edge that's the real problem.
Yeah, and I feel like we're kind of getting to the point now where that northern storm that we had, the severe thunderstorm warning from Delaware, northern Franklin
that's
into
weaker
Licking,
now.
That's weakening, so which is good. And now it's just really getting focused in right here over to the metro.
Yep.
Bexley, Columbus, downtown. Of course, Grove City now heading towards the east, so this is impacting areas around 23 and I-270 and just south. So if you know Scioto Downs there, that's where basically it's heading towards that area there just south of 270 with those potential for winds up to 50 to 60 miles per hour. So that's going to be taking it towards Groveport, Pickerington. So here's a look at some of the times of arrival. Groveport around 9:22, Pickerington 9:29, Pataskala 9:30. Getting into the Newark area around 9:37, Buckeye Lake State Park, that's actually around 9:44, and areas around Lancaster around 9:54, and just after 10 p.m. getting closer towards Hopewell. So I still think by that time, once we get closer to 10 p.m., so about 40 minutes from now, we're going to see that downward trend. So likely that we're getting all this, convergence, all this, everything kind of merging together to kind of, strengthen it up a little bit. But as we saw this part weakening, that far southern part kind of weakening, it's just the central part now that's still holding its own. But at some point it's going to give out and everything's going to be weakening, and we'll likely be done with some of these severe thunderstorm warnings here for tonight. But for right now, it still is showing its strength here. And one thing that's interesting...
You can see that, can't you?
Yeah.
This right here?
That little line of green.
Yeah.
So we talk about that sometimes here in the weather world as an outflow boundary. So it's the push of wind and a little gust of wind that happens as it pushes out ahead of that line of thunderstorms. And also a lot of times when we see that happening, it causes that cooler air to push out ahead of the storms, and the storms move into that and actually causes them to weaken. So when we see some of those outflow boundaries, it's usually a good thing, and it can lead to the storms kind of, ending basically for the most part. At least the severe threat really starting to wind down as they gust out and, start to weaken here. And I think that's going to be the trend that we see in the next 35 to 40 minutes here as we get closer to 10 p.m.
Yeah, I was looking at, I want to load up these current temperatures here, and we'll just kind of give you a different perspective on what's playing out here. So this is so cool. When you see these are current temperatures, and you can really see the cold front, which is right here working its way through Columbus as we speak. Heavy rain, shifting the winds, everything is changing, and the temperatures are dropping. Now we're down to 73 in Columbus, middle 60s in Bucyrus, but out ahead of it, it's still 80 in Newark. Lots of 70s, 80s, high humidity out ahead of this thing. So the front is really cooling things down. And that's what's going to happen. Once it moves through, the air temp will drop, things will tend to stabilize, the thunderstorms will move away, everything will weaken, and we'll likely just end up with some rain showers into tomorrow morning. So again, that is our front right now. Aaron, we can go back
to off pretty quick though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a clear front right there
fast.
on the map. Yeah. And I mean, we can still hear the heavy rain down. I mean
look at
that's
that.
a look. Heavy
rain coming down here. Torrential rain. Everything is covered in rain around you. You can see the camera moving. The lightning off into the distance there. This is the Scioto Audubon camera, park camera there. And so, yeah, I mean, that's just a lot of rain and wind and just a ton of lightning as these come through. At times, the wind will gust to 60 miles per hour. Here's your radar. All these bright spots are going to be your lightning strikes. There's obviously a lot of lightning with this. Not surprised.
Yeah.
This box
coming down though. That number, the strike number up to 137, it's come down.
It's come down. So
it might be another good sign that this is weakening a little bit at least.
Definitely weakening. The box out in front here, that's going to run till 10. These boxes back here on the other side are in effect till 9:30, so those will run for another 5 minutes and likely expire. It's just this southern part that's still packing a lot of wind, and so that's going to be allowed to continue through I-70, a lot of Fairfield County, through Pickerington and Reynoldsburg. All those areas are going to get hit with those strong winds and obviously some very heavy rain. So here's velocity. You're looking at winds all traveling away from the radar site, which is down in Wilmington, Ohio. But these brighter colors, these are the stronger winds estimated by the radar. The deeper reds are the lower wind speeds. So brighter are going to be stronger. And it's that southern part, southern Franklin County, that is still seeing some of those stronger winds of like 50, 60 miles per hour at times. And that's moving through Groveport, into Pickerington and Reynoldsburg, eventually Lancaster and Buckeye Lake. Aaron, you love Buckeye Lake. You're always out there.
Yeah, no, it's a good spot. I love to go paddleboarding out there, and hopefully we'll get to do that one of these nicer days. But definitely now while we got some rain here in the forecast the next few days, at least tonight, and of course looking ahead to Friday. But I wanted to switch it over to that terminal radar again. I know it's been having some data issues here and there, but just like we're seeing with the radar out of Wilmington, there's that bright spot there. To the south, and we're seeing at least some indications of at least 58 miles per hour. It showed 60 just a moment ago, but we just got that new update. So that might be another sign again that we're getting some weakening going on within this thunderstorm. But all in all, those radars that we're looking at are still far enough away from these storms that they might not be actually giving us the picture of what's actually happening here at the ground, here at the surface. So there's still wind. There's still potential for winds up to 60 to 65 miles per hour in a fairly small area. But I mentioned it before about that outflow boundary, Chris, and I still feel like we're going to see a trend in the next 20 to 30 minutes that these storms really start to weaken as
I do too.
Everything just kind of gusted out there for at least right now.
And that fits with the model data that we've seen as well, coming off of our model that we run here. And I'm watching the Scioto Audubon camera off to the side. I can hear it outside right now. It's just torrential rain and wind, and you've got lightning coming down here. But as radar is showing, this is all moving off to the east and away from us at this point, and into Licking and into Fairfield County. But that's our view outside. Right now, the temperature is down to 70 after a high of almost, 90 today? It was close.
Close to 90, I believe. I thought at least we got to 88. So this is looking at one of our
That's the ODOT
cameras.
Let me go up here and just try to figure out. Okay, that's looking east there and I-70 at Mound Street, and it's all wet.
Yeah, and I mean, we're seeing the wet roads, of course, so anyone that's going to be heading out tonight, just be aware of ponding on the roadways, potential for hydroplaning here, but we're also getting so much rain. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some amounts close to a quarter to a half an inch once these storms are done with here tonight. There's still a lot of lightning with these storms as well, and you can see even the ODOT camera here at times shaking a little bit right now. So if we actually switch it back over to weather 1, we're looking at the Scioto Audubon camera there, and you can still see, of course, just torrential rainfall here all across the metro right now. And once in a while, we're getting a couple bright flashes of lightning, and can hear some rolling thunder here once in a while. But yeah, still some pretty intense storms, at least at the moment. And we got another camera loaded up here on a different computer and looking at still quite a bit of lightning. And
Oh, yeah,
there you
lots of
go.
it.
You can see it there on the radar picture. And here's a look at our sky view camera. So this is looking towards downtown. You can see Nationwide there on the left side of the screen. I know it's a little dark, but of course it's nighttime, and the storm is it's pretty intense. And once in a while, we'll see a couple bright flashes of lightning here as we're actually looking southeast. This is at our tower camera.
Yep.
This is here at 10 TV. So there you go. So you can see some flashes of lightning. And I was wondering if at some point we might see a couple bolts, but
Yeah.
you know, they're intense storms. There's that humidity, there's that static. You can see there on the live radar picture right now, looking at the front edge of the storm now moving past downtown Columbus, over Groveport and Pickerington, Pataskala, Gahanna. So this is going to be moving into areas into Licking County. So eventually, as we mentioned, getting closer to Buckeye Lake, and at least the northern extent getting closer to Granville, and even the southern extent of it now moving into Circleville with some torrential downpours and still likely some gusty winds, if not 60, but I would say most areas within the storms are going to be getting at least winds of 40 miles per hour.
Yeah, it looks that way. I mean, you can see it moving out. This is, I feel like you could pick up a quick half an inch to an inch of rain out of this thing.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised if we get some amounts. And actually, we can take a look.
The warning boxes there.
They dropped that one, so
rather.
that's good. So we only have the one severe thunderstorm warning that goes through 10 p.m. So another half an hour on that. And I mentioned it before. If you've been watching us here on 10 TV streaming for the last while, I said that this warning probably is going to be our last one, and I still feel like it's going to be just based on this trend right now. So that's a good thing. With how these storms are really playing out at the present time, now that they're moving off to the east, getting into areas more into Licking County, maybe getting closer to Newark, and then down into Fairfield County, approaching Lancaster. So Lancaster, I still think that we could still get some gusty winds. Hopefully these storms weaken before they get to you. But right now, at least they're kind of starting to become a little bit more, I don't know if you want to say raggedy.
Ragged, I was going to say ragged.
Yeah, I feel like that's the best word to describe it. I know it's one of those weird words to throw out there, but the storms do look a little raggedy. When we talk about this whole line, it had a little bit more structure to it, and now I think because it gusted out, it's starting to get that look to it now.
Yeah. But we've been tracking this thing now for, 2 hours?
Yeah,
Feels like
coming
it's
up
about 2 hours.
almost 2 hours here.
One last look at the velocity here. And yeah, there's still some wind on that. No wonder they kept that warning on. I mean, there's clearly some wind on that. But all that wind's moving into Fairfield County and into Licking County as well. So that whole warning box runs until 10. What we're going to do is we're going to take a break, and if anything else pops up, we'll probably come back on. We may come back on at 10 and just do an update, but we're going to take a break right now.